DK Golf Cat, presented by Bones Brothers Media.
It was an unseasonably cool but very comfortable early spring evening. It was actually the boys' golf trip. We were at Pinehurst. We were enjoying the game room of the rented house, talking shit, gambling, shooting pool, and we're surrounded actually around this pool table when someone extends their hand to me and it's a white can full of nicotine pouches. And at that very moment, someone or something whispered into my ear, "You should try one." And so I dug one into the upper lip. I didn't think much of it at the time. I was more interested, of course, in the camaraderie, the fellowship, the game of pool. I had yet to pocket a ball in after two turns, but little did I know that small offer, that small extension of brotherhood would change my life. It is the Bones Brothers Golf Show. Today's show brought to you by my love and appreciation for Zyn Chill 6 milligram nicotine pouches. Whatever your pouch is, Velo, Nuke, which was very popular at Pinehurst, Alp, which is popular here in the Appalachian Mountains. Whatever pouch you prefer, toss one in. Hell, smoke if you got them. And let's talk some PGA Championship golf. It is the Bones Brothers Golf Show. Again, a little bit of an extended monologue from yours truly. My name is Edge, joining us from Tampa Bay. TW Man, who actually 3 years ago was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Almost 3 years to the day. He beat it. And I just wonder, are you taunting the Grim Reaper again? And have you joined us in the nicotine pouch community?
I have not actually. I got to be one of the only guys who hasn't. For no other reason than I don't know. I don't use nicotine anymore. I
Hey,
used to.
fair enough. Fair enough. You had a great week last week with the Retan prop bet. We're going to get into that in a moment. We had a good hit with our Rogue Warrior of the Week at Ricky Fowler. Joining us after a week-long hiatus, Bones DK Golf. He's got a job. By all accounts, wearing him thing. He's got to be a member of the nicotine pouch community.
I got a nice pillow on my lip right now. I've went from Zyn to Velos to all of them, and I don't really breathe much without one in right now in my
So you
life.
go back and forth between Zyn, Velo. Do you ever try Alp? Have you ever tried Nuke? Any of these other ones?
I haven't tried those. I had Grizzlies were pretty good. Anything that someone can offer me at the time of need, I'll take anything they have.
I've heard that you get like really sick, like it used to be when we used to have a chew back in the day. Is that if you're not up for it? I mean, did you get nauseous at all, Edge?
A
Sick in
lot
the
of
middle? You good?
people, a lot of people will argue that the nicotine buzz is the best buzz that exists on planet Earth. And when you pop one of these in, you get that like 4 or 5 minute sensation of that nicotine buzz. And yeah, I mean, I guess some people can get sick by it. I didn't at the time, but yeah, hey, different strokes for different folks. Again, the program today brought to you by Zyn Chill, 6 milligram nicotine pouches. Let's get on to golf. Truist last week, again, hit some, missed on some, wild man. Tell us what your overall take was. I mean, we did have Xander who kind of stunk. I think he was in over 60th place, I think. But Adam Scott did get a top 25. Kitayama got a top 20. Akshay was very mediocre, but Retan, who I want to talk a little bit more about, was fantastic, obviously winning the tournament. He's been on fire the last few weeks, and you did hit Ricky with the Rogue Warrior. So how do you feel about all that?
Yeah, I think, and Rob can attest to this. We did have a follower who played Fowler and Rayton on the 250 single for 20K. So it was out there. The core four didn't necessarily come through like we would have liked it to, but that was a pretty random leaderboard. Where you had like Alex Fitzpatrick and Rayton for that matter, coming through. But if you pick that up, and we did say take them top 20, top 10, If you had him and you were able to play the Rogue Warrior, you probably won some good money.
So we're calling him Raytan now instead of Retan. Is that how it's going to go for the remainder of this podcast?
Yeah, yeah. Rayton is what I've come across as being the correct pronunciation.
Okay, Raytan, we'll go with that. Bones DK, you missed last week. Any thoughts you want to give us on the Truist? I know you were a big part of the core four that Wildman gave us, and we also had Snedeker sneak in a win, his first win since 2018 to get into the PGA this week. Any thoughts on last week before we move forward onto the second major championship of the year?
It's been a little bumpy road for me, honestly, the last 2 weeks, but this is, the time is right now, the majors. I do want to give a shout out to my friend, poker gambling friend, Boots. He played in the 250 last week and took it down for $20,000. His lineup was Rory, Burns, Fowler, Raytan, Potgieter, and Im. So absolutely incredible cash for him, man. Super happy for him. He's a follower, true grinder. So I'm just looking to get that big win like he did last week.
Final notes from me on last week's Truist. We talked about Alex Fitzpatrick having a lot of momentum. Perhaps the only guy that has more momentum is Raytan right now. But Fitzpatrick, again, proving that maybe he does, not maybe, he does deserve his PGA Tour card. Want to give a shout out to Wildman, who talked about Hideki, called him pretty sharp last week, either feast or famine with Hideki. And Hideki finished second to last this week at the Truist. And then both your opinions real quick, yes or no. The no-cut events, I think they stink for the PGA Tour. Wildman, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was texting you guys all Sunday afternoon. I found myself more intrigued with the Snedeker back nine than anything else. I was keeping an eye on Ricky as well. But man, I was watching Snedeker in Myrtle Beach over this no-cut event.
Bones DK, the no cuts, good or no?
I love cuts, man. When you're gambling and have DraftKings, it does just make the week go a little longer. It's like the first 2 days don't even really matter. It's almost like the first half of the NBA basketball game. I love cuts just because you have the cut sweat. It's one of my favorite parts of gambling. So yeah, no cuts aren't my favorite. I love cut events. It makes it way more intense.
Well, this week is a cut event, and we can expect some Saturday and some Sunday sticky sweats on this one. It's the PGA Championship, the second major of the year. Aronimink just outside of Philadelphia, and they've got some broken hearts right now as the Flyers and the 76ers both get swept out of the playoffs. But it's good to have some PGA golf in Philadelphia. Now, one thing you got to consider, two things before we get to the core four here, Wildman, and I'd like you to take the lead on this one. Weather this time of year in the Northeast can always be a concern for these golf tournaments. So what's the weather look like this week? And then while this course is playing over 7,400 yards, you've got some scoreable par fours on this one, some 450-yard par fours. You've got a traditional par three that only goes about 170 or 180 yards. You got a scoreable par five also here, maybe two scoreable par fives. So talk a little bit about the weather this week, and is it going to be a birdie fest at the PGA Championship this week?
Yeah, so it looks like there's going to be heavy rain tomorrow into Thursday morning. It's really going to soften it up for Thursday in particular. So, there's two schools of thought there. Number one, that's going to lengthen the course off the tee. It's going to make the rough a little bit more dense. It's already 3.5 inches long. And, water balls in the rough and things like that. But it's also going to make the greens a little bit more receptive. So if you're in the fairway, you don't have to be as long as you need to be able to kind of go through these undulated greens and hit some target practice as these pros can do. So I don't think weather is going to play a huge factor. But I actually think it's going to bring in the shorter hitters that are better iron players, which you're not going to find many people saying that online right now from what I've been reading. It's like, oh, it's going to be a bear. And yeah, there is a couple par fours that you can drive, but the average par three is 215. There are two par fives that are close to 600 plus. And then you've got a couple par fours that are well over 500. So, yeah, you're just going to have to, in my opinion, we're from the Northeast. We're from the region where Philly, close enough to Philly. Man, that grass, when it's wet this time of year, can get really thick and really chewy. And it's a major. And so I don't expect a birdie fest. No, I think you're looking at a winning score probably in the normal range of a major of like, 8 to 10 under.
That's fair. I'm going to go out on a limb just as host of the program and just say I think this course is going to set up a little bit easier, though, than a lot of people, or a lot of the pundits online are saying right now. Bones DK, before we get into the core four, what kind of build are you looking for this week?
Yeah, I mean, Wildman pretty much hit it. I'm looking for driving accuracy, scrambling, putting, obviously. So, I mean, distance obviously is all like a advantage to have in your bag. But a couple of guys I'm looking at aren't the longest drivers, but they're very accurate and great at putting and scrambling, and that's what you're going to need this week.
We've got 5 or 6 guys this week over the 10,000 mark. We've got Scotty Scheffler, I believe, at 13.9. I think we have Rory at 11.7, and then a few guys in that $10,000 to $11,000 range. So clearly, Scotty and Rory have got to be the favorites going into this golf tournament. But are you willing to waste one of your, I shouldn't say waste, use one of your 6 roster spots on either of those guys, or even a guy over $10,000?
This week, Rory, Scotty, it's hard not to play him, but I'm not going to. I mean, that's kind of a build I always go through week after week is more of a balanced build. And especially with Cam Young's price this week it being 10-2, there's not a better golfer on tour right now. We'll go through it on the core 4 because he is on the core 4. He is statistically the best player in golf right now, so why not start with him and move from there? I just don't see the reason to pay up for Rory and Scotty this week. I'm starting with Cam Young in my lineup this week.
All right, so sell us a little bit more and start with the core 4. Why is Cam Young so appealing to you?
First of all, he's second in par 4 scoring. So this week is a par 70. There's only 2 par 5s on the course. I'm looking at par 4 scoring. He's 13th in par 3 scoring. Hey, listen, he has the best stats in the game right now at 10-2. I don't really have to argue him, I think. He has a top 4 in all 4 majors. He's only been on tour for the last 3 to 4 years. This guy is like how Scotty was playing before he became Scotty, and I could see him becoming the next Scotty. So Cam Young, $10,200. I'm starting with him, not even blinking about it.
All right, so we're going with a $10,000 man to start the lineup. Where do we go from there?
Then we're going to go. So this is the tough spot for me right now. If you look at Matt Fitzpatrick, he's just so interesting because he's arguably playing the best golf of his life right now too. And what Fitzpatrick tends to do is after having like a bad tournament or like a missed cut, he tends to follow up with a really good finish. Last time he had a 41st at the Arnold Palmer, he followed up with a 2nd at the Players. Right now, he's coming off a 52nd at the Truist. I can see him following up again with a good finish. If you look at outside the PGA Tour, he had a 32nd at the Dubai HSBC tournament, followed up with a win at the DP World Championship. And then you go all the way down to the U.S. Open last year, 38th, followed up with a 4th place. So, again, I just think he's super interesting based off that trend. I've said that like 3-4 years ago on the podcast about Matt Fitzpatrick, how I love to play this guy after he played poorly in an event because he always follows up with a good event. However, I got talked into, rightfully so, Tommy Fleetwood is going to be our core 4 here at $9,800.
So wait a second, real quick. As much as you like Fitzpatrick, we're pivoting, though, and going with Fleetwood.
I just think, it's a risky play, in my opinion, to play Fitzpatrick, only because watching him play the last few weeks, I mean, he was chipping in a ton. He was hitting like 35 footers. He was just doing some insane stuff, and finally it caught up to him and finished in 52nd place. He scares me a lot. I like Fitzpatrick a lot, but I got, when it comes down to the core 4, you got to pick a guy. And after looking at some stats and looking at what I like Tommy Fleetwood the most over him.
Go ahead and give us your reasoning on Fleetwood as well.
Tommy Fleetwood, 9th in driving accuracy, 14th in scrambling, top 10 in par 4 scoring, and also has a top 5 in every major he's played. I'm looking for guys that try to pull off their final, their first major win here. Tommy Fleetwood coming off a 5th place at the Truist, just playing incredible golf. I can see him with tough, rough conditions, putting. Tommy Fleetwood is definitely someone I want to play this week and fire him up in the core 4, and I think he has a chance to win this PGA Championship.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Wildman?
No, I think I like the Fleetwood play a lot, man. He's Like he's only got one win on the PGA Tour, if you can believe that. And that just seems like something that can't sustain. He's going to have to win. He's too good of a player to do that. And look, in a major, he might be able to get fortunate enough. I will say this though, McIlroy and or Scheffler have won 7 of the last 9 majors. I mean, that's a trend right there.
All right, number 3 in the core 4 so far. We've got Cam Young at 10-2. We've got Fleetwood at 9-7. I got a feeling we're going into the $8,000 range here. Who we got, Bones?
Yeah, so this was another tough decision, but I'm going to my boy Russell Henley. This guy really seems to be showing up in majors year in, year out. And what I love about him, second in driving accuracy, number 1 in scrambling, number 11 in par 4 scoring, number 9 in putting. I mean, he's in the top 10 or 11 in all 4 key stats I'm looking at this week. He's an absolutely amazing putter. Also, since 2024, he has a 5th at the Open and a 7th at the U.S. Open. So this guy is playing great golf. At 8,700, I really think he's a bargain. And with the core 4, it's going to leave you a little, not much wiggle room like I like to have for most followers here. But we got a cheap guy down there for you. But Henley, he's too hard to fade. I play this guy week after week all the time. I see him showing up in top 5ing this tournament this week.
He has been showing up in every major over the last 4 or 5 years, and the announcers will gush when Henley hits a tee ball about how straight he hits that tee ball as well. Who's the last guy on our core 4, Bones, DK?
And again, the rough is going to be a little long this week. That's why I'm looking at driving accuracy. I know you want to be long, and he's not the longest hitter, but he has some of the best irons on tour and can putt the ball. And that comes to our final play, who we played him last week, our boy Ricky Fowler, $7,400. I do worry he's going to be high owned. I'm a little worried about his ownership here. He has a runner-up in 3 of the 4 majors. Second, and third are his top finishes in all majors. The guy is playing so good. I'm a big fan of Ricky Fowler. He's 12th in putting, 9th in scrambling, number 2 in par 4 scoring, along with Cam Young. They're tied for 2nd in par 4 scoring, and 23rd in scrambling. I'm riding this guy's wave. I'm riding his momentum, and I quite frankly just want to root for him. 2 years ago, I was down visiting Wildman in Florida. We had Ricky Fowler to win, and he took it down for us, had a great cash. $7,400 is just too cheap. Again, I am a little worried about his ownership, but I don't think many people are going to be playing Henley, to be honest with you. So we're going to find our leverage with some of the cheaper plays down there.
Cam Young at 10-2, Fleetwood at 9-7, Henley at 8-7, Fowler at 7-4. Something interesting, Bones, DK just said there, Wild Man. He's worried about Fitzpatrick. I feel like Fowler is a much bigger risk than Fitzpatrick ever would be. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting comparison, right? Because you could really argue that either one of those guys is the better player in terms of resume. Certainly Fitzpatrick's has a couple of wins recently, but I'm not a buyer of Fitzpatrick with his long irons, and I agree with Bones DK. In fact, we were discussing that. We're like, man, Fitzpatrick just keeps holing out. He had like 6-0 putts in one of those wins. It's just kind of maybe random. Sort of has like a Chris Gotterup type of feel to it, where like all of the success is just jammed into one 3-week run where he has it. Fowler, look, I mean, there's not a ton of course history here. The tour hasn't been here since 2018 at the BMW. He did finish 8th there. And then in the previous playing in 2011 at the AT&T, he took 13th. So he does have 2 good finishes here. And he's done everything but win in the last month. A couple of seconds, 9ths, 3rds, 5ths. I like Ricky.
The Bones brothers are high on Ricky Fowler right now. And speaking of Ricky, good segue into our Rogue Warrior. He was our Rogue Warrior last week. Didn't disappoint. Good bargain there. Who you got for us this week? There are a lot of interesting prices below the $8,000 mark. A lot of friends of the podcast, if you will, below that $8,000 mark. So who is our Rogue Warrior of the week, Wild Man? And then let me bounce some of these sub 8,000 guys off you guys as well.
Yeah. There are a couple of guys below 8K that I hope you bring up. And if you don't, I'll try to slide into that I think are great bets this week and plays. But for the Rogue Warrior, we're going way down there, The lowest price we played all year long, $5,800. This guy's a 5-time PGA Tour winner, believe it or not. Had a 5th at the PGA last year. Has a top 3 at the Players, another big event. Doesn't get into these events all the time, but when he does, he's got 5 wins and he's got good finishes in big time events. Bombs it off the tee. Almost made a run at a medal in 2020, I think the Xander year in Japan. Johnny Vegas, 5,800, is our rogue warrior. Just needed to make the cut at that price, right? And like I said, if you're going up top to Scotty or Rory or packing in some of these core 4 guys that are up there in the 9K, 10K range, great guy to take a shot on.
Hey, if you're going to take a shot, you may as well take a shot on a guy that's named Vegas also. Bones DK, any Rogue Warriors for you in that sub 8,000 mark before I start hammering you with names?
I mean, there's a couple guys. Scary Gary Woodland, $7,300. Last time it was played here, I know it was a long time ago in 2018. He had a 12th place. The guy is playing amazing, bombs it. Obviously, he has a little issue with his putter, but he's just very interesting at 7,300. Let's keep firing up Gary Woodland. With the momentum he's playing this year. I mean, he's a major champion. Don't forget about it. $7,300. Scary Gary.
Speaking of friends of the podcast, Jason Day at 7,800. Adam Scott at 7,500. I mean, saying those prices out loud almost makes my jaw drop a little bit here, Wild Man. That's low for those guys.
Yeah, it is. And look, I mean, we have had a lot of success at major championships over the last 5 years. The PGA a few years ago, actually, Jason Day got out of the sand on the 72nd to drop us into second place in the 555. It was an $80,000 up and down, but he made it. And look, when we play at majors, like, we like to take guys that have historical data across majors. Those guys are 2 of those guys. And Day's always been a good player out of the rough for whatever reason. One of his best statistical categories is second shots out of the rough. Adam Scott is sneaky long off the tee. He's a top 5 iron player. He's a top 20 in distance off the tee, clinical ball striker. This will be his 100th major played, by the way, guys. 100 majors. So he's not going to be feeling any pressure. And then I hope you're going to throw this guy in. You probably will, the old gum chewer.
Yeah, I mean, the best friend of the podcast at 7,200, Harris English. Please give me your thoughts.
Just great scrambler. He's been very good off the tee. Great at majors. Was the runner-up at the PGA last year. Always tends to play courses that are tough well. And look, if you told me at the beginning of the week that the winning score would be anywhere like it was at the PGA last year, which I think was 8 or 10 under, or lower, or 6, 5 under, I'll take Harris English at any price. So I like all 3 of those guys. I mean, those are 3 guys that are very likely to make the cut for you.
Not to throw Live Golf under the bus at all. If you haven't been to a Live Golf tournament, though, I'll tell you what, you better get to one, because it seems like they're going to be history here pretty soon. Any of these Live Golf guys catching your fancy, Rob? I know we got Patrick Reed in that $9,000 tier. Brooks Koepka seems a little overpriced in this one, but 2 names I want to throw out. And you want to talk about the biggest risk of all. Dustin Johnson would be that. But at 7,000, he did make the cut at the Masters. He does tend to play better at Augusta, though, than when you have to move the course around for a major. And then, I mean, the guy was the hottest golfer in the world prior to going to Live Golf. Cam Smith at 6,900. Any of these guys, like, even on your radar, Bones DK?
I mean, I loved Cam Smith when he was playing, but I think him and DJ are at the bar drinking beers with each other most nights, and they just don't really care. They took their money, and I just don't think they care, guys. To be honest with you, I'm not putting my money on those guys.
I think that's a fair take. Wild Man, any thoughts on that?
I'm kind of surprised that they're both in this tournament. I guess Cam Smith's still on the 5-year from his Open win.
I think Johnson got a special PGA exemption to get into this tournament. I do, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, 7K. Look, I mean, there are people that compare the greens at Aronimink to Augusta. And those are two guys that have success at Augusta. DJ just had a good run. Cameron Smith, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. He's way too erratic off the tee, and he truly doesn't care. I mean, he's not even, you don't even see him on live. I forgot he was on live.
Yeah.
You know, DJ's still like hanging in there, and I think they even won the team event in Virginia not long ago. But if I'm betting a prop drop, perhaps this is it. Top live finisher. Let's go Tyrrell Hatton of the live guys.
Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to give you a prop drop here in just 1 minute, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Not much of a speed round today, but one name I got to throw out at you guys. He just won last week, and I said at the beginning of the show, and it would be hard to argue that Raytan, the only guy with more momentum on tour right now than perhaps Fowler or Alex Fitzpatrick, is Raytan. He's been a top 10 machine all season long. 6,200? Are we all going to get rich this week if we bet on Raytan?
I think he's a pretty good play, to be honest with you. He played in the Open last year, had a 30th, made the cut at the Masters this year, coming off a win. Guys tend to keep playing well after a win. And, this is probably an emotional win for him. I think it's his first win on tour. So you do worry about that a little bit, but $6,200, like I said, with the core four, toss in Raytan there, all of a sudden you have about $8K left for your final guy, and you have a great lineup with Raytan down there.
Wild man, I feel like I sent you a text message last week, something along the lines of like, did we miss the gold rush on Raytan? Because the secret's got to be out on this guy now. He's been playing excellent.
Yeah, 6,200 is, that was a signature event last week. That's going to move him up like into the top, probably 25 in the world winning that event. To be 6,200 is hilarious. And look, if you watched golf last week, you got a good look at him. The guy's as cool as a cucumber. He wasn't sweating it, didn't have many nerves, was standing in there making putts, hitting shots, gave up the lead at a point, got it right back. And look, we've been talking about him for almost a month now. We started talking about him back at Zurich, where they made 5 eagles on the weekend to narrowly miss out a win there. So, yeah, and look, in majors in general, you can Google this, you can plug it into AI, do your own research, however you want to do it. There are always trends leading into majors that can kind of predict who's going to play well at majors. Like, it's very rare that you kind of, like, I know Johnny Vegas is down there at 5,700, and we're just sort of taking a flyer on him, but Raytan checks every box walking into a major to think that he should easily pay off a $6,200 price tag.
Interesting. You should be thinking about Raytan this week at 6,200. All right.
One more thing about Raytan. He nailed it. He's 25th in the world after his win. He was 48th before the event, and the end the 2025 season, he was ranked in the top 30, 31st in the world. So this guy is good. Hey, he's ranked above Victor Hovland, Patrick Cantlay, Minwoo Lee, Maverick McNeely, Sam Burns. He's ranked higher. Ricky Fowler's 37th in the world. So yeah, $6,200, top 25 in the world. Might have to fire him up there.
All right, our prop drop last week, we hit the Raytan top 20. We missed the Pot Geeter top 20. He ended up finishing tie for 48. So a quick prop drop before we sign off. Wild man, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I got a handful. So again, I'm going to play top live finisher Tyrrell Hatton. Just think he's a grinder. So we'll go there. We're going to do a top 20 bet of Justin Rose. Like I said with course history, there's not a ton of it. He lost in a playoff at Aronimink in 2018. He finished, he won it at Aronimink in 2011 or 2010. So, good course history, a guy that, again, had he not changed his irons, you'd be like, this guy's a no-brainer to have success here. I think he's made 16 cuts at the PGA Championship in his career. Let's take him to top 20. That's a plus money bet, around plus 200, plus 210. And then we'll go single with Harris English to top 20. You're getting him at 3-1, plus 300 to top 20. He was a runner-up here last year, made all 4 cuts at the majors, and had 2 runner-ups last year. You can put those guys together. You're getting a parlay of around plus 1,100 to top 20. And then we'll take our shot. Let's go yes to a hole in one. These greens are undulated. They're going to be down in certain areas. I think that the PGA will give the players a shot or two on the weekend to have a funnel down towards a hole placement. Let's go yes on a hole in one.
Only hitting about 35 to 40% of our prop drops right now. Just a listener disclaimer out there to everybody. Bones DK, you got one for us?
Well, I got the $5 to win $1,000 as always, Edge. Our followers are going to get paid off on the core four. And if you do Cam Young, top 10, Ricky Fowler, top 10, Russell Henley, top 10, and Tommy Fleetwood, the core four, $5 to win 1,005. And if you put them into a top 20, it's going to be $10 to win 220. So top 10, top 20, separate parlays, 10 to win 220, 5 to win 1,000 on the core four.
All right, the PGA Championship this week. It is the second major of the year. Aronimink just outside of Philadelphia. The core four, in case you missed it, is Cam Young at 10,200, Russell Henley at 8,700, Ricky Fowler at 7,400, Tommy Fleetwood at 9,700. Our Rogue Warrior going way down to the bottom of the list here, 5,800 for Johnny Vegas. And then our prop drops. I like Hatton. I just like Tyrrell Hatton. And I got to tell you guys, I don't like many live golfers, but I like Tyrrell Hatton. And I really like that bet of him finishing as the top live performer. I'll tell you the other guy who's I'm warming up to is Patrick Reed. I think he could always make noise at the PGA Championship. Yeah, I know. Let's just stop there.
Whoa.
Let's just stop with that. The top 20, our prop drop. Top 20 with Justin Rose. Again, really interesting. The McLaren irons. Since then, the guy has been rough. But anyhow, we got a top 20 on Rose. We got a top 20 on the old gum chewer, Harris English, best friend of the show, that is. We'll take a yes to the hole in one and then a $5, $1,000 parlay on our core four to all finish in the top 10. Final thoughts on the PGA Championship, Wildman.
Hey, good for Philadelphia, their NHL team, their NBA team. I mean, poof, into thin air, disappeared. So good for Philly to get. I know we know a lot of guys from Philly that participate in fantasy golf and golf betting. So good for them, to get something out there. Feels like that was back in 2018 when the Flyers were in the playoffs.
What's really funny, I mean, I shouldn't say funny. They did beat Pittsburgh, but they were really happy to get into the second round. And let me just tell you something. Buffalo and Montreal are playing game 4 tonight of their second round series. Their season's been over for 2 days. Carolina's not going to play for another 10 days, for crying out loud. Doesn't even feel like Philly got into the second round of the playoffs, unfortunately, for Flyers fans. Bones DK, we could go on and on and on and talking about the Flyers and their misfortunes. What do you got for this week? Any final thoughts on the PGA Championship?
Just excited, man. The majors is where we do the best. I got a big week this week in our fantasy league. I'm winning the in-season tournament, and it is the majors with the players. So I got a big week here. I got to defend that first place, and I'm just excited. I mean, the core four once again has top 5 in every major. Every single one of them, the core four has top 5 or better in a major, or if not all of them. So fire up the core four and let's win some money this week.
Big shout out to our cuz, Adam Bones, who is also running the office pool. I know he's got several hundred people involved in that. It's a lot of hard work. We're looking forward to throwing a lineup in there this week also, although I'll probably deviate a little bit from the core four as just the host of the program. For TW Man and Bones DK, until next time, let's get one this week.
Let's go.
Let's get it jacked
Let's
up
go,
baby.
at the PGA Championship. Thanks for listening.